everyone, it's me again, Brittany, and I'm here today to do a kind of different July TBR, just because in general this is more of a TBR for the readathons I'm doing in July, because July is filled with them. I currently am participating in the Biannual Bibliothon, the Reading Rush, and I'm gonna be taking my owls, which I know, that was a couple months ago, but I never took them, and Newt's is next month, and I want to take them, okay? So let's kind of just jump into it. I don't have every book for every challenge that I want to read. I like to leave things pretty open because at the end of the day, I actually never know what books I'm gonna really be reading, since I put so many books on hold on Libby through the audiobook service that they have for free using your library. I never know which one's gonna really come in, and I normally just listen to them as they are rented out to me. So my camera battery died mid-sentence, like actually died, which I don't think has ever happened to me while I was filming, which is crazy. I definitely need to buy a new battery. But I was saying that I'm participating in so many readathons this month, and I'm not gonna set myself down to a very strict TBR just because, again, I have so many books that come in from the library that just get checked out whenever they're available, and I really don't know when that's gonna be, so I want to leave it pretty open. But for the most part, I have set one down for the Biannual Bibliothon, so let's go over the challenges and let's go over the books that I picked for them, and I'm really excited. I've already read a few books this month, so I'm not gonna include those in this just because we'll talk about it in my wrap-up, you know? The Biannual Bibliothon has 9 challenges, but you are allowed to double up in them. They recommend only doubling up one time, so one book for 2 challenges, and try not to triple or quadruple up on one book. But, you know, it's pretty loose. They just kind of want you to have fun with it. Personally, I am going to try and not double up as much as possible just because I'm an overachiever like that. I don't know. I like stressing myself out. So let's go over the challenges. The first one is to read the group book, which I don't own yet, but it is going to be coming in the mail, and that is Aurora Rising by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. I am so excited about this. So Aurora Rising has to do with the graduating class of Aurora Academy in the year 2380, and we follow the star of his graduating class, Tyler, as he picks out what he wanted to be his dream team, his dream squad. But it is completely out of his control when he ends up getting the rejects of the graduating class. And that's not even his biggest problem. His biggest problem is gonna be Aurora, a girl that he found in interdimensional space that has been in cryosleep for over 200 years. And not only has she been in cryosleep, but she could be the catalyst that could start a war that has been millennia in the making. So can Tyler and his squad of rejects, along with this girl, stop this war, or is it going to be too late? I guess we'll find out. I'm really excited about this book. I obviously have loved Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman's work in the past. I love Illuminate, I love Gemina, I really want to get to Obsidio, and I've heard nothing but good things. I know a lot of people have compared it to Guardians of the Galaxy meets, what is it, Star Trek, something like that? Either way, I'm pretty excited because Guardians of the Galaxy is one of my favorite movies in the Marvel universe. I love the comedy in it, I love the music, I love the way that these, let's be honest, these Guardians of the Galaxy kind of suck, but I love the hell out of them, so I'm excited to see how Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman incorporate that into Aurora Rising. Plus, the book is stunning. The next challenge is to read a host's 5-star read, and they give you the 5-star books of the host. I personally am going to be picking Emma Book's book, and that is going to be Scythe by Neal Shusterman. I have never read a Neal Shusterman book, and I've always wanted to read Scythe. I bought it so long ago and just haven't picked it up at this point, so I really want to get to it. And I think I'm going to be listening to it on audio. So a little bit about what Scythe is about. We are in a futuristic society that everything has been conquered, from illness to war to hunger, everything including death. No one dies unless now a scythe steps in. And scythes are used as a form of population control. We follow Citra and Rowan as they're recruited to be trainees of the scythes, and they really don't want it, but they have to try and succeed because if they can't, that will equal their imminent death. I'm really excited though because I know that there is somewhat of a romance between Citra and Rowan, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna really enjoy it. I feel like there's gonna be a lot of good commentary on just society and the corruption that can possibly happen with having people that can control the population at will. So I think it's gonna be amazing. The next challenge is to read a book based on the cover. I'm leaving this one blank until I decide whether I pick up another book or if I put Aurora Rising for that one. Then it is read an adult book. Oh, I totally forgot to, hold up Scythe while I was talking about it. this is it. So for Read an Adult Book, I think I want to get to Morning Star by Pierce Brown. This is the third and final book in the Red Rising trilogy. I'm so excited about this. I've obviously been loving Red Rising as a series. I loved Red Rising. I think I loved Golden Sun even more, and I love these audiobooks, so I hope to pick it up on audio. If you didn't know though, Red Rising has to do again with another futuristic society that has color-coded their people. Every single person is set and born into a color. There are the reds, there are the blues, the purples, the everything, but the reds are the lowest tier and the golds are gonna be your highest tier. They are the people that control society, that rule society, that are leadership positions in society, and that also control everything that has to do with their armies. So we follow Darrow, who is born a red, which is the lowest class, and for a reason. Not only are reds physically lower than every other color, but they are mentally lower and they just don't really have that much ambition in a way. But Darrow doesn't believe that that is all there is to life. After his wife is killed by the society, he decides that he is going to take it down from the inside, and he has to do that by becoming a gold. And becoming a gold doesn't just mean changing your hair color and changing your eye color, it means physically and mentally becoming an entirely different person. And it is the most fascinating thing to see himself compare what it was like to be a red to a gold and everything that happens. This is a very gruesome story. It's so vivid and insane. Pierce Brown's imagination with this world is to die for. So I'm really excited to get into Morningstar. I know this is going to be the end of the trilogy, but that there is a companion series, and I really want to be able to get to that before Dark Age comes out later on this year. So I'm excited to read this, and it is an adult sci-fi book, so counts for that. The next challenge is to read a graphic novel, and I am going to be reading Monstrous Awakening, which is the first volume by Marjorie Liu and Sana Takeda, I think. You know? I'm actually so excited about this. I don't remember who it is that I saw talk about this on BookTube, but I was instantly intrigued. Their summary was amazing, so I'm gonna try and do it a little justice by the summary that I know of it now. But this is set in a steampunk 1900s Asia, which, if you know anything about me, I actually really enjoy steampunk. I think it's a really interesting concept, so I'm excited, and I've been so into Asian cultures lately. And we follow a girl that is kind of traumatized after the war, but not only is she a little traumatized, a little lonely, she has a weird psychic link to a monster that is basically all powerful. So in my head, this kind of is like Death Note meets 1900s steampunk Asia meets, I think that's really it. Those are the things that I'm thinking of. I'm really excited to see how it is. I love the artwork, and I've actually never read a graphic novel like in this form. I've read manga, but I've never read a graphic novel. So I'm excited for this to be my first one. The next challenge is to read a book from an author you've never read before, and I have a few options for this since I've never read a book from Neil Shusterman or a book from the authors of Monstrous, so I can just definitely play around with that. Challenge number 7 is read a book you were really excited for but never picked up. Again, I have a ton of options for that. All of the ones that I already talked about can basically count for that. Challenge number 8 is to read a predicted 5-star read. I've set down Aurora Rising for this for now, but we'll see if that ends up being the one or if I end up reading more and then want to replace it with something else. I don't know. And then the last and final challenge is Wildcard, and it's basically a free choice. You get to pick any book for this challenge, and I have picked Damsel by Elena K. Arnold. I am currently actually reading this. I think I'm about to finish it today, which is really exciting. But this is a wild card in and of itself. I never really expected to read this month. It kind of just appeared in my Libby account, and I was like, well, I'll start listening to it. Not only can this count for the challenge of read a book from an author you've never read before, because I've never read anything by Elena K. Arnold, but it can count as my wild card choice, and I am really excited about this. I've heard very mixed reviews, because though I've heard that it has some very interesting commentary on society and it's a very interesting feminist work, I've also heard it's very triggering and has a lot going on in it, which is true, because so far I can let you know that there are definitely trigger warnings for sexual abuse, animal abuse, suicide, self-harm, and probably so many more that I'm not even thinking of, and those are big ones, you know? So it is pretty disturbing. There are definitely certain scenes that I've kind of shied away at, but let me tell you what it's about, because this isn't a review. This is a TBR. So basically this is sort of like a fantasy retelling, but it's a retelling of the damsel in distress trope. Not any specific one, but in this world, every prince that wants to become a king has to go out into the Grey Lands, find a dragon, kill a dragon, save the damsel, marry the damsel, and that is how they become a king. So we follow Amma, who has just been saved from her dragon by a mysterious prince, and she remembers nothing of her past except for what the prince tells her, that she was being held captive by a dragon, that he saved her from a dragon, and that she's to become his wife. She didn't even remember her own name, and he named her Amma. And Amma is willing to believe it until she gets to her kingdom and realizes that maybe not everything is as it seems, and that maybe she had been safer in her past that she can't remember than in her present in this castle. I'm really excited to see where this goes. I'm already very disturbed, but I'm very intrigued. It has a lot of things that just are very unexpected already, and I feel like I kind of understand where Amma is coming from, and I'm excited to see how this all wraps up, because it is a very fast read. So those are really all my options for the biannual bibliothon. I might talk more about it, but I'm also going to be taking my OWLs this month. So I have picked out 2 careers that I am very interested in. I'm not sure if I'm going to complete both of them. I just kind of gave myself the option, that way if I read something that fits better with librarian or with horror, I end up falling into one of those categories. But I also wrote down the rest of the classes, since there were only 4 more besides that, just to see if maybe I can read them all. Do you like my spread, by the way, guys? You'll see this more in my reading vlog for next week. There are 12 different challenges for this. The reason that I wrote them all down was because I do happen to be participating in a lot of readathons, and there is the possibility of actually reading 12 books. So for Ancient Runes, we have to read a retelling, which for me, Damsel would count under that category. For Arithmancy, we have to read a work written by more than one author, and that's going to be Aurora Rising. Astronomy is Star in the title, and Morning Star can count for that. Care of Magical Creatures is Land Animal on the cover, which I have already read one. Charms is an age-line read an adult work. That is another one that Morningstar could count for. Defense Against the Dark Arts is Reducto, title that starts with an R, another book that I've already read, which is exciting. Divination is set in the future. Aurora Rising, Scythe, and Morningstar can all count for that. Herbology, which is a plant on the cover. Pretty self-explanatory. History of Magic is published at least 10 years ago. I'm really excited about that. That's going to be a book that's in my Reading Rush TBR. Look out for that video. I'm making a whole separate TBR for that just because it's Reading Rush, I'm excited, you know. And Muggle Studies is a contemporary. This is the only one that I'm very up in the air about, because you guys know I never read contemporaries. Potions is The Next Ingredient, which is a sequel. And Transfiguration is Sprayed Edges or a red cover. And for this, I have picked out Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. I'm so excited about this. This is the Fairy Loot special edition. The sprayed edges are glimmery and adorable, and I'm really excited to read this. So this is set in a world where sorcerers are a known evil, and we follow Elizabeth, who is in training to become a warden at one of the great libraries. And these great libraries don't just hold regular books, they hold grimoires, and grimoires have some of the most powerful and dangerous magic in them of all. And when grimoires are set off, there are monsters that come out of them and that have to be stopped. So when the library's most powerful grimoire is set off and one of the most dangerous monsters is set out and Elizabeth is framed for it, she has to team up with one of the most unlikely allies, her sworn enemy, a sorcerer, who has a demonic cat, I'm pretty sure, because we got an art print for this in Fairy Loot, and even though it says demonic companion, I'm pretty sure it's the white kitty on the art print, which I'm so excited about. She has to set off with this sorcerer and his cat to try and figure out who, in their right minds, is trying to not only burn down the libraries, but potentially burn down the entire world, and who is trying to set her up for it. But on this path, she discovers that maybe sorcerers are not as evil as she once believed, and she discovers more about herself that she never even knew, like the fact that she might have powers of her own. So I'm so excited about this. I read An Enchantment of Ravens when it first came out, and I loved it. I thought it was a little fast, so I'm kind of excited that this one's significantly longer, not significantly, but like decently longer. And I can't wait to see how Margaret Rogerson has improved. Her writing was already so fantastic in Enchantment of Ravens that I can only imagine that Sorcery of Thorns is gonna be incredible. And obviously this counts for my Sprayed Edge challenge. So those are all the books books that I have set down on my TBR for now. Again, I'm going to be making a separate TBR video for the Reading Rush just because I feel like it'll be easier for me to set aside those books and to stick to a TBR. When you have to read 7 books in a week, you want to stick to a TBR, you know what I mean? So I'm really excited about it. Let me know down below if you guys are participating in the Biannual Bibliothon or if you're taking your owls late just like me to participate in the Newts next month. So yeah, I'm really excited about this. I hope I get a lot of books read this month. I feel like I might, and yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Goodbye!